Welcome back, Sebastian here. So time for my review for the Formula 2 sprint race. Really excellent race, really good action up and down the field. So I started at the beginning. Daruvula was started on pole with for sure P2 alongside him. And this was Josh Mason, British driver's debut in Formula 2, and he actually stalls on the formation lap. Then basically gets pushed back to the pit lane, and then basically had a massive start infringement where basically started the car while he was being pushed back. So then he went to go do the formation lap. And this basically, he didn't do the proper starting procedure. So then the formation lap the start was aborted and they did a second formation lap. When we eventually did get going, it was a really good start for Daruvula, and it was single file through Sector 1, going through the Eau Rouge Radillon complex. But Pourchaire got a really good start and was up to P4 at Les Combes. And Vesti also had a good start and went around the outside of turn 7, I believe. Turn 7, turn 8, going around a couple of cars. So a really good move there by Vesti at the start. Other big move, really brave move by Martins on Maloney at Blanchimont. So really nice move there by him. And then as we go on to lap 2, Vesti overtakes Pourchaire for P5 along the Kemmel Straight. And Hauger also gets Boschang too in Les Combes. So of course for qualifying was in wet conditions and the race was pretty much dry. So the qualifying order was not as representative of the car's pace in dry running as it usually is. So that's why there was it was quite a mixed up grid, and that's part of why we saw so much overtaking. And then lap 3, so basically they went to replays after the start, and then so we never actually saw any of this live. But we see Daruvula basically pitting with the safety car has come out, and it turns out that Daruvula has somehow lost his headrest, and the headrest has basically come flying out of the car, and it was on the track. So really rotten luck by Daruvula, completely no fault of his own. And I guess in Formula 2 they don't have spare headrests. The last time I can think of something like this happening was of course Lewis Hamilton at the 2017 Azerbaijan Grand Prix, and they of course just stuck a new headrest in. But for Formula 2 they don't have the backup headrest, so unfortunately for Daruvula he's forced to retire the car. And the reason why we had the safety car was because Cordial had spun the car and stopped. So thank you Microchrome Engines. And let's see, we got, Mason was given a drive-through penalty as well for the start infringement. I believe that was then I believe he had that penalty, and then he had a second penalty that was then rescinded. And then there was a second infringement as well between Mason and Miney that was to be investigated after the race. Lap 4, safety car ending, slow start of a drizzle according to Chris Miney, nothing really came of that. Lap 5, very tight between Doohan and Maloney, as well as Hauger and Vesti, and Hauger actually gets past Vesti up to Les Combes. Lap 6, a bit of a leery moment for Doohan, trying to make him overtake at the bus stop chicane, kind of loses it under the full tank of fuel, but manages to keep it on track, but doesn't get the overtake done at that point. And I believe that was on Maloney, but that same lap, DRS was enabled, which definitely made overtaking much easier. Lap 7, Iwasa overtook Behrman at Les Combes, very tight, but also a very good move between the two of them. 10-second stop, so this was the 10-second stop-go penalty for Mason that was removed. I don't know if they actually gave him 2 penalties or what happened there. But then following lap 8, Pourchaire is really challenging for the penalty for P2. So really putting a lot of pressure on him. Lap 9, Iwasa overtook Maloney for P9 at Les Combes, and lap 10, Doohan overtook Boschang for P7, also at Les Combes. So it seems like Les Combes was the overtaking location of choice. La Source, there's no real point overtaking there, and it's kind of too short, and also the bus stop is also an option, but a couple moves there, but not too many. Lap 12, Pourchaire wheel-to-wheel with Hauger, so they were very close all race. And Vesti and Martins were also very close, and it's very close, very good battling all through the beginning of end of Sector 1, beginning of Sector 2. So that was really great to see. I think around here Maloney was also given a 5-second penalty for track limits. Lap 14, Behrman drops to 13th, and we didn't really see why live, but upon the replay, he had some contact with Leclerc, I think basically right after Les Combes, kind of got shoved into the gravel and lost a couple of positions. This was under investigation, but there was no further action for that move. Lap 14, Martins was up to 5th at Lecombe, getting a good move on Vesti. So Vesti had a really good start, of course, but then was starting to drop back. So it seems like they may have gotten, the Premas may have gotten the setup wrong. Of course, they had the front row for the feature race tomorrow. Maybe they banked on too much of a wet setup. And the feature race is supposed to be dry tomorrow, so we could be looking at a really excellent race in the feature race tomorrow with drivers on completely different setups. And at this point, at the start, Fittipaldi was under pressure from Pourchaire, but through the middle part of the race, he basically started dropping Pourchaire and starting to put a lot of pressure on Pourchaire. So by lap 14, he's caught up to the back of him, and he looks like he's primed for a move for the lead. Crawford was also given black and white flag for track limits. By lap 15, Behrman, so that was the Behrman-Leclerc thing, I already mentioned that. Lap 16, Fittipaldi was right up on the back of Verschoor, very, very close to him, like less than a second, so he was getting DRS. Let's see, Fittipaldi then overtook Verschoor around the outside of Lecombe on turn 16, the penultimate lap of the sprint race. Really excellent move there, and of course, it was a bit surprising, I thought. I guess maybe Verschoor used too much of his tires early on in the race. Of course, everyone on the medium tires, but that being said, really good move by Fittipaldi. Final lap of the race, lap 17, Doohan overtook Vesti for P6 at Lecombe, so Vesti continuing to drop back. Fittipaldi takes the checkered flag, takes his first ever win in Formula 2, great for him. And I think also right after the race, there was an incident between Iwasa and Vesti at the bus stop chicane. I believe it resulted in Vesti getting a 5-second penalty because he finished 7th. But when I went to go check on the Wikipedia page, it had him in 9th. So I guess 5-second penalty for Vesti for kind of basically, I guess, running Iwasa off the road, apparently. So let's look at the result of the race. So P1, Fittipaldi, P2, Verschoor, and rounding out the podium, Pourchaire in 3rd place. 4th, however, 5th, Martin, 6th, Doohan, 7th, Iwasa, 8th. Finally gets his first point since Bahrain, very, very long time ago. 9th, Vesti, who drops down with that penalty. 10th, Leclerc, 11th, Maloney, 12th, Hadjar, 13th, Behrman. Dropped from 10th and tomorrow's pole sitter, so really interesting to see how that goes. 14th, Pisani, 15th, Crawford, 16th, Stanek, 17th, Correa, 18th, Nolak, 19th, Miney, and 20th, Josh Mason in his Formula 2 debut. Looked very much out of place. I believe he went from Formula Open, Formula Open, which is a very low-level series, so quite a bit out of place. I'm not exactly sure why he's here, probably money. And lap 20, and then your two non-finishers were Deruvula and Cordial. So taking a look at the championship, Pourchaire closes the gap in the championship slightly, 153 points for Vesti to 158 for him, so only a 5-point gap. And I think with what looks like Prema kind of messing up the setup for this track in the dry, it'll be really interesting to see what that gap looks like tomorrow. Iwasa in 3rd, 134, 4th, Martins 109, Doohan 5th, 103. He had a great race in Hungary. I know I didn't do my videos for Hungary, I was too busy. 6th, Behrman 96, 7th, Verschoor 85, 8th, Fittipaldi 82, 9th, Hauger 81, 10th, Maloney in 66, 11th, Deruvula 53, 12th, Miney 52, 13th, 14th, and 15th, all on 39 points, are Crawford, Leclerc, and Hadjar. 16th, Boschen with 34, 17th, Correa was 12, 18th, Stanek with 11, 19th, Nolak with 2, and then 4 drivers on 0 points, Nissany, Cordial, Benavides, and Mason. So that's all for the Formula 2 Sprint Race review. Pretty exciting race, good amount of overtaking, and I'm really excited for tomorrow's race. Obviously, it should be dry, but that being said, the weather this weekend's been all over the place. And of course, I'll be back later with the F1 Sprint Race, so that should be a lot of fun. Thank you so much for watching, and goodbye.